And welcome to this edition of the Native News Update on this Thursday, April 26th. I'm your host for today's program, Paul DeMain, and many of the stories we read here you can find at our website at IndianCountryNews.com. And here are some of the news stories from the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. A wind turbine near Porcupine is being rebuilt to power a radio station on the Pine Ridge Reservation. The Rapid City Journal reports that the wind turbine was supposed to power the KILI, or KILI radio station that broke down shortly after it was built in 2008. It was meant to be part of a pilot project showing how wind turbines can save money and power small buildings. But the brakes and control panel on the turbine didn't work right, and before KILI ever took control of the turbine, the gearbox broke, said Tom Casey, a co-manager of the station. Officials said it should be rebuilt and running again by the end of this summer. The wind turbine was the first one installed on the reservation. KILI's light bill was between $1,200 and $1,500 per month back in 2008 and has nearly doubled since then to $2,500 per month, according to Casey. Laguna Pueblo has given permission to Disney filmmakers to use some of their land during filming of The Lone Ranger. KOAT-TV reports that the Laguna Pueblo Tribal Council recently approved filmmakers and actors, including Johnny Depp, to use Laguna Pueblo land for parts of the movie in production in New Mexico. Pictures of Depp in full Native American dress have drawn some criticism and humor from advocates, but tribal leaders say they hope the experience and the film will draw attention to the American Indian community. Laguna Pueblo Governor Richard Luarqui says every tribe is different and Depp's attire is not a representation of the Pueblo. Luarqui says he hopes the filmmakers learn more about the Pueblo from the filming on their land. The Red Lake Nation will allow non-members to take walleyes on smaller reservation lakes this summer for the first time in nearly 20 years. The tribal waters of Lower and Upper Red Lakes are not included. The Grand Forks Herald reports the Tribal Council approved that move this month. It also applies to the Red Lake River below the dam on Red Lake. Non-members must have a non-resident license and be accompanied by a tribal guide. A list of guides is available at tribal headquarters or the law enforcement complex. Two public interest law firms will be part of a defense team in lawsuits over the Interior Department's 20-year-old ban on new hard rock mining claims near the Grand Canyon. A federal judge's order allows Earth Justice and the Western Mining Action Project to represent the Havasupai tribe and four conservation groups. The National Mining Association and the Nuclear Energy Institute are suing the government over the mining ban that covers more than 1 million acres rich in high-grade uranium ore that reserves on public lands adjacent to the Grand Canyon. The Federal Land Policy and Management Act gives the Interior Secretary the ability to withdraw 5,000 or more acres, but not for longer than 20 years without congressional approval. The lawsuit filed in February asked a judge to declare the act unconstitutional. The chairman of a northern Michigan tribe says he's going to withdraw from the race for Congress and instead will run for the Michigan House. Derek Bailey of the Grand Traverse Band of Ottawa and Chippewa Indians says this week he won't seek the Democratic nomination to represent Michigan's 1st congressional district. He'd been moving toward a primary showdown with ex-state Representative Gary McDowell, the party's nominee in 2010. McDowell is seeking a rematch with freshman Republican U.S. Representative Ben Benishik. The sprawling 1st District includes the Upper Peninsula and parts of the northern Lower Peninsula. Bailey says he decided to switch races after supporters urged him to challenge Republican Representative Ray Franz in the 101st State House District. An upcoming conference in Sioux Falls, South Dakota about the 1973 Wounded Knee Uprising on the Pine Ridge Reservation is already inciting some controversy. Attorney Ken Tilson, who represented members of the American Indian Movement who were arrested during the 71-day armed takeover, is angry that there's only one side noticeably absent from the particular panel about the investigations and prosecution of those arrested. He says the defense. The panel Tilson is peeved about is comprised of Judge David Gienap and Attorney James McMohan, who are assistant U.S. attorneys that prosecuted Wounded Knee cases, and David Price, an FBI agent at the occupation. Tilson was legal coordinator for the Wounded Knee Legal Defense and Offense Committee, or WICLDOC, the team who successfully represented AIM leaders Russell Means and Dennis Banks during a 9-month trial in St. Paul, Minnesota in 1974. He was also the recipient of Anime Pictuaquash's wallet in early 1976, which he sent to Canada rather than turning it over to federal investigators who were probing her execution at the time. Tilson at the time represented Richard Dickey Marshall in another murder case on the Pine Ridge Reservation. Marshall, who was one of Russell Means' bodyguards for AIM, was accused of but acquitted by a jury 2 years ago of providing the gun that was used to execute Aquash. Conference organizer Harry Thompson, executive director at the Center for Western Studies at Augustina College, said the lineup of speakers is well-rounded, noting that the list includes prosecutors, FBI agents, journalists who covered the siege, witnesses, and participants, including Russell Means. And keep a watch on our programming tomorrow on Friday, the 27th, and during the afternoon, and thereafter in the on-demand files, as ICTV will be recording a portion of that program and may be able to live stream late in the afternoon a presentation featuring Denise Pictou Maloney, the daughter of Anime Pictuaquash. And that is going to be another roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. We want to say miigwech for joining with us, and you come back again soon.